Hi, everybody. This is Joe Ryan again. This is the 33rd day of teaching this semester, and I taught an ESL 5A class this morning. I like this class. They're not quite as lively as my other class this semester, but they're very proficient and they're a lot of fun to look at because they are really engaged most of the time, and I like that. We talked a little bit about the Italian project that they're doing, and one of my students generously outlined how she is doing her project, and she had a five-step process, which I think freaked everybody out because they're doing what? What am I supposed to do? But anyway, but she had it all minute by minute exactly what she was going to do, and I thought that was really instructive for my students. So thank God for Ping Lao. She is the bomb. Anyway, so that was good. And then that took about 20 minutes, as always. And then I promised them I'm going to talk to Sarah Toso and the Italian students on Friday at 5 a.m. And I'm supposed to send a link to Ping, and I probably will. That's good to know. Okay, the other thing is that we talked about the exam, and I had to give them a little bit of a primer on how to take an exam, especially a multiple choice exam where they have a time limit of 2 hours and they have to do 50 questions. Now, I also told them how I would do it, which is that if the teacher were not there and I gave you the right to use the books, that you would use them and to your advantage. But I also said, don't get tripped up by that because you have to move quickly enough to get all of the answers correctly done, and you can't really spend a lot of time looking up answers in the book. So, but I did mention that they should turn to the charts that are necessary and look them up. And and then I also gave them some information about how you answer a question. So, for example, I had put a couple of paragraphs into the practice test, and the paragraphs were about magicians, and the other thing was about lobster, and it didn't really, the paragraph was not really relevant to the test. What was relevant was, did they go down and look at the question they were supposed to answer? And if they had done that, they would know quickly how to answer the question, and it would take them a few seconds to answer, like, what is the thesis statement? Well, obviously, if you know the thesis statement is the last sentence of an introduction paragraph, you'll have no trouble picking it out. So they didn't really have to read the whole paragraph. All they had to do was identify the position of the thesis statement, and then they could have just knocked it off in a second and been correct. But I know that some students will do it linearly, meaning that they will read the whole paragraph, freak out, look in their dictionaries, and feel totally discombobulated. And then they might even be too nervous to answer the question. So I said to them, whenever you see this kind of question, you have to look at what you're looking for before you actually do the reading, because it'll eliminate time. And that's an old trick of teachers, and that's certainly one of my little tricks. The other thing is that so we got through that. They didn't really know a lot, but I realized probably some of this I can't really use on the test itself because it's not from the chapters that I told them to study. But that's okay. The next thing is that we studied some grammar, and I realized modals are tough. They just go on and on and on, and there's a lot of nuance to it that maybe I should have skipped this chapter, but I'm trying to be very linear in my approach to what they need to know. So this kind of just was there, and I just said, go ahead and do it. I also want to justify the purpose of the book, which is if I skip over chapters, then they're not going to feel like they got their money's worth. So that was part of it. Anyway, so that went on, and then we went to Ready to Write 3, and we talked about conclusions, and that was actually more productive than I thought because I didn't really get to the part of the book that I thought was necessary, which was like looking at a full essay that was put together and was taken apart, and then seeing what it said. But we'll get to that on Monday, and that'll be their final test preparation. In addition, we went to the war between the classes, And my intention is always to be able to do a chapter in a half an hour or less. But today it dragged on for 45 minutes. It wasn't even really a crucial chapter in some ways because it was just exposing who Adam's mother and sister really are, and also like brought in like the how rich people get treated in the United States. And while it may be somewhat accurate, I don't necessarily agree with the accuracy of the portrait, but it was necessary, so I just threw it in there. And then at the end, we when we finished, there was a little time. We talked for a few minutes. This class is not particularly talkative, and they don't really answer questions that I ask them. So after about 5 minutes of just waiting for some kind of like question or some kind of conversation starter, I just realized, hey, I want to just get back to my world, which is the world of teaching for sure. But anyway, so it went okay today. I mean, 33 days. Oh my goodness, that's I didn't realize. We're plowing right through it. I mean, I don't know how many days are left, 27 or something like that, but we're almost done. It's kind of like scary now. Thank you.